Welcome into Point Blank, brought to you by Fitz Roofing. I'm Brandon Strange, joined by ESPN Houston's Joel Blank of the Press Box. Despite a ton of injuries and adversity, the Astros look like one of the most dangerous teams in the postseason, and because of the injuries that we mentioned, they're doing it with a bunch of characters that the national media is cramming to learn their names and pronunciations for. I ran across this tweet from Tyler Stafford. He just kind of went down the list of acquisitions that happened in 2015. It seems like so many of the names on that list are integral parts of 2020. Let's talk about it. What do you think about Jeff Luhnow's job in 2015?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, and you can rattle off all of the names that are involved in the tweet, but the fact of the matter is the team that we're currently dealing with as it's presently constructed and the run that they're on has to be directly correlated to the savvy moves and the great personnel decisions of one Jeff Luhnow. No matter what happens and how his reputation was tarnished by the 2017 cheating scandal and the subsequent report from Major League Baseball, there's no denying how savvy and smart Jeff Luhnow was in terms of the way he evaluated talent. When you talk about a guy like Enoli Paredes or a guy like Jose Urquidy who had Tommy John surgery and no one knew what he was going to be coming off of that, but guess what? Luhnow was savvy enough to give him a chance, bring him in, and then reap the benefits of a guy that's really a major contributor in your starting rotation now. The list is endless. He drafted Alex Bregman. He put a majority of this team together, and you as much as you have maybe some ill will towards the way it all ended with the report and all of the scandal, you have to tip your cap to Jeff Luhnow and his staff because they did a hell of a job evaluating talent.
Jeff Luhnow's reputation is forever going to be tied to the cheating scandal. If the team that basically, this is the team that he built, and there's no denying that. I don't want to jinx anything, but if there's another deep postseason run, how much does that maybe balance out that reputation of Jeff Luhnow?
Well, I think quite a bit. I think just like this is the redemption tour for the team itself, to say that no matter what happened with the cheating scandal, this is still one of the top talented teams and rosters in all of baseball. And that's head and shoulders above most other teams in the league. And so that is a kudos to Jeff Luhnow, but also to the roster and for that locker room and for the guys that said, hey, look, everybody can try and put this on us, but what a run it would be. What a Cinderella story if we were able to not only make this run and do this Cinderella story that no one thinks we can get done and be the underdogs, because we don't have the pitching we once had. We don't have the starters. We don't have the bullpen. We have all this young, as you mentioned, unrecognizable talent, but we also have a core of guys that were there then and are here now and are here to prove to you and make the statement of, hey, we're damn good baseball players. We were back then, we are right now, and we're not going anywhere going into the future. What I'm telling you is this is a locker room full of talent that was there then, talent that's here now, talent that's got the chance to win another World Series.
I want to kind of compare and contrast the situation that Jeff Luhnow was in compared to now what James Click finds himself in. But before we do that, why don't you give us a word from our video sponsors at Fitz Roofing?
Yeah, we love the people at Fitz Roofing. They're loyal to us. We're loyal to them. People of Houston should figure out who they are quickly, because if you need anything done with your roof, from a repair to a whole new roof for your business or your family, only one place to call, and it costs you nothing to figure out what they can do. All you do is call 832-521-3001. They do a free, no obligation inspection, and then you can figure out if you want them to come back or if you're going to pass on the process. But if you do go with them, best warranties, best products, and best service in the business, it's Fitz Roofing, making a difference one home at a time.
We saw within 2015, Jeff Luhnow make so many decisions that were impactful for years to come. Talk about how James Click, the kind of pressures on him to kind of replicate this, but it can be done. Is that correct?
It absolutely can be done, but James Click, his reputation and his legacy is yet to be written. We know from Jeff Luhnow's standpoint, his legacy has been written and set in stone, both positively and negatively. Positively with all the roster moves, acquisitions, and drafts that he's made, and negatively by the cheating scandal. James Click has yet to have that signature moment. The last thing that he wants is his signature moment to be that he was the guy at the helm and in charge to watch the unraveling and the crumbling down of the Astros quote-unquote dynasty over the last 4 years, and potential dynasty. If they would somehow win the World Series, there's no denying, with 3 World Series in 4 years and already 4 American League Championship Series in a row, that they are writing quite a legacy for themselves. He has yet to be a part of any of that. So is his legacy going to be, I'm the guy that on my watch let George Springer get away, let Michael Brantley sign with somebody else, let Carlos Correa Correa get a bigger, better deal from another team, even though he was such a stud in the postseason? Or am I the guy that gets creative and says, hey, if there's a way for me to move Zach Greinke, which I've suggested here previously, save that $20 million and use it towards keeping the core group together offensively, capitalizing on all the young arms that Jeff Luhnow had brought into this organization that are now going to be key members of your staff, both starters and relievers going forward, and find out that you can still go and sign a pitcher here or there and make good with a team that has a great offensive lineup? Or am I the guy that says, hey, it's time to rebuild. It's time to press the button. It's time to just get the restart going. And I'm going to be the guy that's going to be hated because I let the World Series competition level get away and let us go to a new era of Astros baseball. James Click's got a ton of pressure on his plate. He didn't trade Zach Greinke when his stock may have never been as high one last time as it was. Now, how do you go on from there? Do you get Jim Crane to open up the pocketbook and say, yes, I'm with you. We can have a few more ring giveaway nights this year to make up for it, but I want you to do whatever it takes to keep George Springer, to bring back Michael Brantley, to already start talking about locking up Carlos Correa? Or am I the guy that says to Jim Crane, hey, feasibly, economically, analytically, we can make do with other guys. And even though it's going to be very unpopular in the city of Houston, it's the right thing to do from the franchise's perspective, from a revenue generating standpoint, from a baseball perspective. I don't think that's going to go over well with the city, the fan base, and everybody that watches baseball. So the true challenge and the true legacy to be written for James Click starts as soon as the last out is made in the Astros season this year. And it's going to be a real interesting process to see how it all unfolds.
When that last out occurs, whether it's in the ALCS or the World Series, how much does that result? How much is that tied to these decisions that are being made and whether they'll open up the pocketbook more?
Well, it's interesting, Brandon, because it's not the Florida Marlins. I mean, win or lose, the Marlins were going to pull the plug after they won the World Series and completely just rebuild, restart, and unload every contract they had. In terms of the Astros, because of the 4-year run that they've been on, because of the fact that a lot of the other guys not named Springer or Brantley are locked up, that you know that you still are going to be competitive. So how competitive do you want to be? And that's where the challenges come with James Click. Are you going to go with analytics and guys that other teams may not have as high a value on because of the fact that analytically they don't see what you see in terms of the numbers they can produce? Or are you going to be a guy that just goes out and says, hey, hell be damned to any kind of budgetary reasons or how much we have to spend. We're not going to let this be our last year being relevant, and we're going to do whatever it takes to sign the two guys that mean the most to us right now, with Yuli already being signed. You get Springer back, you get Brantley back. If there's some way, somehow you get out from under Zach Greinke's contract, then you do it. You have to endure Verlander for one more year, but then you get all that money back as well. So you're still going to have flexibility as it comes to Correa's contract coming up and pitchers that possibly might come into the fold to give you that next generation of Astros championship caliber baseball. It can be done. I'd really like to see it done, but whether it will be done all rests on the shoulders of James Click. And like I said, he's going to be a targeted man and a guy that everybody's watching this offseason. Let's hope we watch him build the next generation of positivity and championship runs instead of a guy that rebuilds what has been already done in Astros history.